to my latest entry to my video blog. I have seen the film. Some of you are probably wondering why I didn't really do a video blog review sooner. It's been, a couple weeks since the film came out. Firstly, I was so angry, or at least just upset, I suppose, and disappointed that I decided, I probably don't want to release anything right now. It's one thing to be honest, but it's another thing to be prudent. However, after that, a strange sensation came over me. I became apathetic. I just didn't care so much. I felt like the film was not really worthy of my time to spend more time thinking about it or talking about it. I just grew tired and weary. But as some of you know, I went into the film. I expected a decent, maybe fun fantasy film and a poor adaptation. It was a very mediocre film, not a great film by any means, and a terrible adaptation. But for now, just for now, let me just give you kind of my overview. First of all, I think I can almost count on one hand the parts of the movie that it really made me smile where I was supposed to smile, and made me kind of enjoy it, and made my heart kind of lift a little bit. Will Poulter as Eustace. I have my complaints there, and I'll talk about them later on. But Will Poulter did a very good job. He was probably the single strongest actor within the film. So kudos to whoever cast him as Eustace. Well, some cinematic shots of the Dawn Treader. Now, unfortunately, it's kind of sad when one of the positives I'm saying is, weren't there some pretty good, nice looking and beautiful moments? Well, those little points I was, I thought were nice. Number 3, the Devil Puds. I really liked the Devil Puds. I thought they didn't get nearly enough screen time, but the voices, the actors, the way that they were holding them up, to make them, sound like giants, that was brilliant. I mean, it wasn't in the book, but this was the part where I thought, wonderful. They take something that, Lewis didn't say in the book. They brilliantly translated to screen, and I thought this was great. It's one of those little things that a filmmaker can add. I thought this is great. Yeah, have them holding each other up. It's funny. It's hilarious. It's something that it sounds like they would do in the book. And so the Duffel Puds I thought were really good. The moment where Edmund Caspian thought Eustace was killed in the when they find his clothes and he's turned into a dragon, they don't know yet. That whole little moment, even when he starts to attack the ship, I thought, wow, they really did a good job here. This is creative, and I didn't like how some of it was shot, but their acting at that point, I thought, oh wow, they're actually making me care for some of these characters. That was one of my overall problems with the film. They didn't let you invest in the characters. That was one of the things I think overall the first film did the best. I think the first film did a great job letting you invest in the characters. Prince Caspian to a certain degree, and it was more on a case by case, character by character basis. And then, what else did I like? The end credits. I loved the end credits, and I have to say they were my favorite part of the film. It was a brilliant idea to have the polling, not the music, not the music. They should have gone with Lorena McKennitt and have her arrange some of Lewis's poetry on maybe on the planets. Who knows? That could have been good. But the end credits were done very, very well. I liked them, but they were my favorite part of the film. But the film overall was really poor. It was very cheesy in places. You had Eustace fighting off the smoke, and one point I thought, really? Am I seriously watching this? Eustace has to fight off the smoke, and then Aslan beams him from that island to next to the ship, just drops him in the water, apparently. You have the really quick pace. I was surprised how boring it was. It was a very boring film. There were only a few moments that I thought were actually kind of exciting. I thought the part where the sea serpent wrapped itself around the ship, that was an exciting moment. And the dialogue was lame. The dialogue was very lame. You have Koryakin's dialogue. It was terrible. You must defeat the darkness within yourself. Well, let me talk a little. Those were just some pathetic elements, but those made it a mediocre film. It wasn't a terrible film. I think I probably would enjoy this film overall. Just as a film, I'd probably enjoy it more than Aragon, the movie. But as thematically, here are some serious problems. First of all, The World's End. Reepicheep makes one mention towards the beginning of the film of why they are even about his heart's desire to see the Aslan's country, but it's not even part of the quest. This really ties into why I think Michael Apted just did, or sorry, I'll just say the filmmakers. I don't know what hand Michael Apted said in the script, but as far as the script is concerned, the purpose of the voyage, Michael Apted did say, he said, "There's no purpose for the voyage in the book. This is poppycock. It's rubbish. Of course, there's a purpose for the voyage in the book. It's twofold. First of all, you have the world's end." Reepicheep's desire to sail to Aslan's country. This isn't the primary purpose of the voyage, but it's one of the most pervading themes of the voyage throughout the story. Reepicheep is longing for Aslan's country. He desperately wants to find Aslan's country, and it's one of the things that they're constantly hinting at throughout the book. They're building anticipation for it. Reepicheep says, "If my coracle sinks, then I will sink with my nose to the sunrise." You have Caspian saying when they reach Ramandu's island that it's the beginning of the end, and even that's not enough for them. And he says, "Look, we have to continue on." And he encourages his men, saying, "Only the few of you are, who is worthy and brave enough and courageous enough to sail to the world's end and bequeath the title of Dawn Treader to his name for generations." You have that constant building of anticipation. After they've reached the last of the islands, the sun is getting bigger. The sky is brighter. You have the lilies. You have the water changing. All these little steps build on the anticipation, and then in the climax really is reaching Aslan's country and Caspian realizing he can't go. And Reepicheep's destiny. Reepicheep is destined as a condition of setting the seven lords free, all seven. He has to go to Aslan's country, and he says, "That's my heart's desire." So there's this constant building of anticipation towards Aslan's country throughout the book. It's episodic, but you have those moments there that build towards it. Second purpose of the voyage, although this is the initial purpose, it is a voyage of honor. Caspian swore an oath on his coronation day, and Prince Caspian, although it's not in that book, that he would rescue these seven lords and set sail for a year and a day, he said, and it's a quest of honor. Now, this is in the film initially. It's in the film and there's no mention of the seven swords. So at first I thought, oh, this is great. But they destroy it. They completely twist it around. But until the point, really, by the time they get to after the Low Islands, it's exclusively a purpose for the swords. I went through several reviews, movie reviews of people who had not necessarily read the book. What did they list as the purpose of the voyage? Finding the seven swords, destroying the Dark Island. One of them mentioned the seven lords. None of them mentioned actually reaching Aslan's country. So the voyage changes from this quest of honor and adventure to a quest that basically is, well, we have to save these people. Caspian, when they have the option to turn back during the storm in the film, Adrenian wants to turn back, and Caspian gives one reason why they have to continue onward. It's to save those people. How do they save those people? They find the seven swords. I mean, it's so callous. When they get to the Dragon Island and slash Deathwater, they look in the water, and Lucy says, "Oh, the poor man." And then they say, "Oh, get his sword." You know what I thought to myself? I thought, "Ah, yes, get the sword. That's useful." There was no remorse or a sense of loss. Oh, how terrible. We can't, it's like they don't even care about finding the seven lords anymore. It's like they care more about finding the swords. You get the feeling they would be more disappointed if they found all seven lords and didn't get their swords than if they found all seven swords and didn't find the actual lords. Okay? Here's a part from the book. My Pauline Baines illustrated version. This does not describe the voyage in the movie. They're about to sail into Dark Island. Now, in the book, they have the option to avoid it. They don't have to sail in. But Drinian says, "But what manner of use would it be plowing through that blackness?" asked Drinian. "Use," replied Reepicheep. "Use, Captain? If by use you mean filling our bellies or our purses, I confess it would be no use at all. So far as I know, we do not set sail to look for things useful, but to seek honor and adventure. And here is as great an adventure as ever I heard of, and here, if we turn back, no little impeachment of all our honors." This is not the voyage of the Dawn Treader. Not in the film. This is... It's like... the purpose. It's not even really the same story. I'm thinking, how can I really enjoy this? You try to take a book and you have to adapt it, you have to change things. I understand that. But you adapt it and change it so that you can tell basically the same story. So you can come away with, walk out of the film with basically with the same things you came away with out of the movie. Basically came away with from the book. I didn't get the same purpose of the voyage, and I was reading those reviewers, and they didn't get the purpose of the book either. They couldn't tell you what the book was about because by having seen the movie. Not really. They couldn't tell you. If that's all they'd seen, they couldn't tell you the purpose of the book. If you've seen the movie The Lord of the Rings, you could tell a person basically pretty good. So a pretty good job of telling them what the book is about. And then you have Eustace's undragoning. What was it like before Flaherty had his great revelation? I mean, how is he not earning back his salvation? For one, yes, it was cheesy and lame, but I'm thinking the context. Aslan waits until he's right there to after he's done all this and he's fought off the sea serpent, and extraordinary things happen to extraordinary people. I was just I thought it completely changed so much there, and it really looked like he earned it in my opinion. Now those are the three main themes: the world's end, the purpose of honor, and fulfilling your oath to find the seven lords, and then Eustace's undragoning. There's another part, and I'll be brief here. The humanism within the film. Reepicheep finding out Caspian says, "Oh, no one deserves Aslan's country better than you, Reep." You have Aslan gone from Deathwater Island. He isn't the one who's needed to correct them. The temptation of the mist is entirely an external force. It's not something internal. It's not something inside them. Not only they have to defeat it. It's so contrary to C.S. Lewis. And you have, yes, they kept the line of Aslan saying, there I have another name. You must come to know me by that name. But by that point, it doesn't really matter anymore. Aslan isn't someone who is who wants them to fulfill an oath for honor and to seek, desire his country more than any other desire. He's not someone who has to remind them because of their constant tendency to turn away. He's not the one who has to constantly check them. It's like he just lets them, well, I'll help you be yourself, value your individuality. A great example is when, look at the Dark Island. The Dark Island, Lucy calls for Aslan, and then the albatross come, and then what does the albatross really do? He doesn't lead them out. They have to still fight, and they escape, and there's nothing to say the albatross was Aslan. It's just sort of, as the albatross came, I thought, oh, the albatross, and then what did the albatross do? But then you have them escaping, and you have Lucy saying, "We did it. I knew we could." And then I thought, Lucy wouldn't say that. That's completely contrary to what she said in the book. And then Edmund says, "I don't think it was just us." And I thought, yes, 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 yes. And then the camera pans to Eustace. Wonderful. Congratulations. The crew of the Dawn Treader and Eustace saved the day. No mention of Aslan in that scene. It's a humanistic story, basically. It's contrary to Lewis. There are things in the first ones in the first films I think, Lewis wouldn't have written that. Here, I don't think Lewis could have written that. I'll examine more of these later on, but those are some of my main pet peeves with the film, and that's all I'll have for now. Until next time, further up and further in to the real Narnia. Go read the book, Voyage of the Dawn Treader. I heartily recommend it. And if you have seen the movie and have not read the book, do it. You'll enjoy it.